time to time, actually more often than not, we like to talk about houses here on All In with Brian Weatherford, and the reason is quite simple. As we've discussed and as you know, for 99.999% of people, a house is the most expensive thing you'll ever own. Buy, lease, rent, however you have it. It's a big deal. And it's important when it's time to look to get rid of a house, when it's time to purchase a new one, to have somebody come with you who's been there multiple times before, knows what they're doing, but most of all knows how best to help you. And that's the guy we have in studio with us today. This is Mr. Joel Bill. Goodbye, Old Home. I love the name of that business, Joel. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. So let me ask you something. You're a realtor?
I am a realtor.
All right.
But our company specializes in helping people that have problem houses, some sort of a problem, physical problem, financial problem.
Right. So it could be a problem with the person themselves or even with the house.
You know, something, it can be like a car, something that makes it unsellable.
Okay.
Either some sort of a situation on the back end, maybe a family problem, something like that, or maybe there's just a serious physical problem that is just not worth it to fix.
Well, see, that's a whole different aspect. I'm glad you're here, because that's a whole different aspect of the real estate business that, frankly, I've never had anyone sit in that chair to talk about, but it's also something that's out there. Everybody, it could be anything from mold. It might be maybe the house caught on fire and do I sell it as is? Do I try to rebuild it? What am I doing here? Or maybe I've lost my job, I really can't afford this thing anymore. Now what do I do? How do I get out from under? And you're there to help with everything.
Our goal, we're a small company. Everyone works hard. Sometimes they all work harder than I do, but we all work hard, and we want to do nothing more than to be helpful. So if we can help you by doing business with you, that's great. If we can help you by giving you some good advice, that's fine too. We just want to be helpful.
You might even just be a shoulder to cry on.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. That's right.
And that's, you know, let's be honest, we all need that from time to time. How long have you been doing this?
Since 1992.
1992?
Well, like most people,
Goodness gracious. You got to have it down by now.
Well, maybe.
Was this a Boy Scout project or something when you did it in 92? I mean,
you know, you have to have a mentor in business.
Sure.
And I latched up with a guy who's really good at real estate, and I bought my first duplex in 1992.
Okay.
I actually had a rental property before I actually had a house to live in myself. I was renting an apartment for years as I was getting rental properties. So I've been doing it since 1992.
So you've got it down.
And had my license since 2008, and I've been in the business this deep since 2008.
Well, and that's what I was talking about with everybody out there, Joel, is the fact that it's nice to have a professional, because let's face it, for most of us, most people, normal people like myself, or average people like myself, you may buy and or sell a home 4 or 5 times in your life. You know, who's going to know more about that, me or you? How many people have you assisted with buying and selling homes? Certainly more than 4 in that time. You don't even have the number. The point being, you've seen every aspect of it, up one side, down the other. You probably, as long as you've been doing it, have you been surprised lately?
I have.
It still
gets once in a while. It still happens. You know, you would think it's a fairly regulated transaction.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't get surprises. And in our business, when you have a surprise, something went wrong. So you didn't plan for something. But occasionally something still happens. You still get shocked. You know, it's important to remember that a house is an investment, and like any other investment, it could be bad, it could be good, it could be one to avoid. It's really kind of hard to say.
Well, and also with any other investment, timing is everything. You know, you need to time it to buy it at the right time. You need to time it to sell it at the right time. That's things you can assist people with as well.
One thing that we have learned over the years is we know what the trend is and we know what the trend was. We don't know what the trend's going to continue to be. So we have to treat it as a short-term deal. Can I afford it today? Not what is it going to be worth tomorrow.
Sure.
Can I afford it today? And the way we look at it, if you're going to buy a house, we strongly recommend that you spend no more than 25% of your combined take-home pay on the payment on a 15-year mortgage. And if you can afford that, then buy the house. If it's a decent deal, as judged by the market today, buy the house. But if that's out of range, out of reach, then rent. Renting is not a bad option for a lot of people. I rented for a long time.
Yes. Well, the other thing too, if you do buy the house, you need to maintain it. So many times people overlook things. It's not like, you know, let me get you on a hint, folks. When you buy the new car, it has oil in it, but that doesn't mean you don't change it. Same thing with your house. You have to maintain it. What's things that all of us need to do, but are often overlooked when it comes to maintaining your house?
It's kind of the old pay me now or pay me later
Sure.
thing. If it leaks, fix it immediately. If it rots or deteriorates, paint it. It's that simple. A lot of things you can bypass, but if it's leaking, fix it right now. And if it's something that's going to rot, just paint it. Little things like that. And it's surprising how easy it is these days. You can go to YouTube or any of the big chain stores, and they can help you. A lot of the stuff you can do yourself. The problem is these problems, as they go unchecked, eventually the house is in a condition where you're calling a company like ours.
Yeah. Well, so there are things you can do for yourself, but let's say you didn't do it, or maybe you just purchased a home that's in a state of disrepair to where you're not there for it. You can help out on that end.
What we do is we look at the house.
Yeah.
And it may not be as bad as you think.
Okay.
So we might look at it and we might tell you that your best option is just put it out on the retail market. It's not as bad as you think. It's a little ugly. It's a good house. We can help you out, but so can a lot of people. Or it might be worse than you think. Sometimes when you live in a house for a while, you get those blinders on.
You overlook things, don't you?
You overlook things.
Yeah.
And someone with a fresh set of eyes comes in and starts looking at it. And so you just need an honest, fair assessment. And, are we going to sell it retail on the open market? In which case, there's a lot of good, reputable real estate agents that can help you out. Or do you kind of need to sell the house wholesale? It's kind of like trading in a car. If the car has problems,
very similar.
Maybe you're just better off. You can't afford to fix the transmission. Let's just get rid of the car. And then today there's a whole new world of internet buyers, and that's where you go online,
I know that.
and they'll give you an offer based on some algorithms. And there's back doors in there, so even if they make an offer, they can always rescind it. But there's 3 ways of selling a house these days.
Do you have much experience with auctions? People auctioning houses or purchasing houses at an auction?
We do. We generally buy a few a month.
Okay, a few a month. I guess you have a little experience then.
Yeah. And again, sometimes they can be tax auctions, sometimes foreclosures. Sometimes it's just it's a house that they're having such a hard time selling. Usually unique houses or rural houses, they decide to put it up for auction.
I think the other thing too that you have, you were talking earlier, we can't really tell you what the house is going to be worth tomorrow, but you've been doing this so long, since the early 90s in one way or another, you can see trends. And it's almost like a weather person. They know if the barometric pressure gets here and here based on experience, this is going to happen next. You can see things.
And the numbers we watch are days on market. And days on market is big for me, but it's a relative number. And then the other is months of inventory. 6 months inventory is generally considered a healthy, balanced market. In Tarrant County here, we've been running under 2 months for years.
Everybody that sits in that chair in the real estate business talks about the fact our inventory is way
so
down.
low. And Dallas County is even tighter than here. So inventory, months of inventory tells us whether the market is balanced in favor of buyers or sellers or where it's at. And then days on market, it's a relative thing, but it's relative for your neighborhood. So where I live, 30 days on market may be normal. When we see that number go to 45, then we know that things are slowing down. When we see that number drop to 20, we know things are speeding up. So 30 days in my neighborhood may be 15 days in your neighborhood. It's the relativity of the number.
Well, there's a lot of variables as well, Joe, as you mentioned, and one of which, and we don't have time to get into, interest rates.
Right.
Right. that could certainly impact a business like that. Got about 30 seconds left. Last thing, if somebody's looking to sell a house, what's the quickest thing they could do themselves to improve the curb appeal?
The best thing, you can't overcome location, but you can certainly overcome first impressions, a nicely painted front door, a well-painted exterior. If it needs a roof, if you can afford it, put the roof on, make the yard look nice. Just do some of the basic things that don't repel people when they drive up.
I love that, folks. You can't do anything about the location, but you can certainly improve the curb appeal. Joe Bill, everybody, goodbye, Old Homes. Appreciate you being here with us today on All In. Thank you. Fascinating. Since the early 90s, you're going to get it down yet. Hang in there.
I'll try.
That's Joel, everybody. Thanks for tuning in with us on All In. Bye-bye.